I want to come back to extremism a little bit. President Musharraf has constantly been talking about how this is now a fight between extremist forces and moderate forces, and he portrays himself as the moderate force. Do you see the armed forces of Pakistan as being moderate?
Well, if the military becomes moderate and sheds the Zia legacy, it will be very good for our country. We need a professional armed forces. We need an armed forces without a political agenda or without the doctrinal agenda. They should be there to guard the frontiers of Pakistan. They cannot be there to determine what is the ideology of Pakistan. The ideology of Pakistan can only be determined by the people of our great country. So General Musharraf has said that there's a fight with moderation and extremism. And in a way he's right, because there are two fights. There's a fight between dictatorship and democracy, and there's a fight between moderation and extremism. Where we have differed with General Musharraf is that we do not believe that dictatorship can undermine religious extremism. And we believe that dictatorship in fact fuels extremism, and that the extremism spilling into the streets of our country, where mosques are not safe, and mosques, which are places of worship, have been turned into arsenals with rocket launchers and suicide bombers, that this is a direct consequence of almost 30 years, a quarter of a century of military rule, directly or indirectly.
Now, you talked about moderate versus extremism and how the army needs to be a moderate force and go back to the barracks. But how do you see the army being depoliticized and going back? What would you do? How would you manage this? It seems like a Herculean task, because not only are they so steeped in politics, but they're steeped in business, and there's a lot to lose.
Yes, there is a lot to lose, but the very country now is at stake. Where will they be if the country, God forbid, disintegrates? So they too have an interest to save the country. We have seen in the Red Mosque how a handful of militants took on the Pakistani army, and we had to send in our elite SSG troops. And what if they get another 5 years and they have these sleeper cells in all our urban centers, and simultaneously they rise up? Can our army simultaneously take up guerrilla warriors in different urban centers of our city? It's a terrible scenario. And if the country, God forbid, disintegrates, what if we don't maintain control in the tribal areas? What if the US comes in and bombs certain areas? What if the people then rise up and in that melee, the independent state of Waziristan or something is declared? Revolutions or Balochistan. Revolutions don't say we are coming. It is an accretion of small incidents that pile up into a catalyst, and nothing demonstrates this more than the Chief Justice's lawyers or the lawyers' movement. It was an accretion of a number of incidents over the years that alienated different social groups, from minorities to women to political activists, that led to the catalyst.
And they all came together.
They all came together. So, I know the army soldiers, they join the army to get a good name. They don't join the army to be mocked and taunted, which is what is happening in the streets of Pakistan today. And what about our officers? If there is no country, how can they have their businesses?
Absolutely. But the security forces are really overstretched at the moment because, as we've said, the militancy is on the rise. Now, how would a civilian government cope with this problem?
Well, I think that we have some experience in this, because in 1993, Pakistan was on the brink of being declared a terrorist state. The first attack on the World Trade Centers had already taken place, and an army operation had been called out in Karachi. But we were able to mobilize the support of the people. We were able to reach the people by introducing developmental programs, and we were able to send a message to the political madrasas. You see, as far as a madrasa is a school that doesn't teach hate, that teaches children how to read Arabic or say their prayers, they're doing a good job. But where there's a political madrasa, a madrasa which is used as a decoy name to hide a militant headquarter or a militant cell, and they train people in hate and they tell them go and kill everybody. Well, those people have to behave according to the law, and if they don't behave, well, they have to face the consequences.
But they've talked about madrasa reform, but not much has been done. So how would you say reform the madrasas?
Do you think really Ziaul Haq's son, Ijazul Haq, is going to reform the madrasas?
Well, he went and hugged the chief cleric
Yes.
and wept on television.
Yes. Yes. I mean, this is the biggest joke that is being played on the entire nation. Why the entire nation and the entire world?
We
That
were held hostage.
we have the godfather of the jihadis coming out and telling us that I'm going to reform the extremists. And not only that, did you see who they brought
Yes.
to negotiate? Maulana Fazl Rahman Khalili,
Yes.
a sidekick of Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, who's
shocking.
running the TSNM movement in Malakand. He was on every single TV screen. I can't go in Pakistan and mediate with anybody because I'm banned. And I haven't broken any law. I mean, nothing has been proved against me. And here is this man out there mediating. And what about the Ghazi himself? He's caught with guns.
Stranger than fiction, as they say.
Stranger than fiction. So, it's a joke.
Well,
It's,
it's the whole mediation
Nothing
on
is being
television
done.
and all that what do you think of that? The whole drama, if you like, was played out on television. It was almost like being in the US or something, watching some horrible nightmare unfold.
I think the media played a very important role in explaining to the people of Pakistan the dire dangers, with that. But I couldn't understand why he was allowed to have a mobile phone
And why he was allowed to negotiate on television.
and negotiate. No, have a mobile phone and be built up to that area. I think either somebody had assured